Well, hello there! It's been a while since I did like a review or something, huh? But, well, I finally managed to get in the 4 figures from Wave 1 of Jakks Pacific's Sonic the Hedgehog line. So since I already opened these guys up anyway, just to kind of see what they're all about, let's just get straight into it. I'm not gonna...
Hurry up, will ya?
Okay, so here is Dr. Eggman. Out of the 4, he probably has the most unique articulation. He has the most, which is odd considering, you know, the other guys could have really benefited from using ball-jointed elbows. But, you know, it is what it is, I guess. Anyway, let's get into his guy's articulation. So he has a ball-jointed head, universal arms, universal elbows, ball-jointed hands, universal hips, knees, and ball-jointed ankles. Dr. Eggman is the only one of the 4 to have these ball-jointed elbows, which is really weird considering that on nobody else this would break the sculpt. It only breaks the sculpt on him, because everybody else just has like one color of arm, like Tails, Sonic, and Shadow only have one color on their arm, and Eggman has more than one, so it kind of breaks the sculpt. But let's move into this little spike trap. There's nothing much to say on it. It's just really nice. It's well made. It's made out of bendable plastic. Would have been nice if it was shiny though. The one thing I do wonder is why this and Shadow's 10 ring, which we'll get into later, has a little hole in it, considering that there's no peg for it to go into. At least it doesn't come with one. Eggman's paint job is pretty damn good though, like just looking around. He has a really good paint job, like everything's on accurately. The orange mustache is a big point of contention with a lot of people, and I understand why, and I'm not sure I like it either, but it's okay. It's not bad. It's not like totally off color, it just looks a little bit odd. Okay, let's get into Sonic himself.
Why are you gay?
Here's his packaging. It's pretty much the same across the board, so I'm not going to show any of the other figures in this packaging. I just wanted you to see what it would look like with a slightly shorter figure. So here is the Jakks Pacific Sonic the Hedgehog. Really? Come on, freaking cars! Jesus Christ! This makes you wish I had soundproof walls. Anyway, he has about the same articulation as Eggman, minus the elbows, which again makes no sense, but it's fine, I guess. So Sonic has everything that Eggman had besides the arms. He comes with a spring. This is really cool. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a Sonic figure that came with a star spring before, and it even has like a little like push-in feature at the bottom, so you could So this is your Jakks Pacific Sonic. His sculpt is like, damn son, like like this guy is on point. He looks really damn good. I would say he's about on par, or a little bit better than the Jazwares, besides like having slightly thicker legs. Slightly unsettling to me, but considering I draw Sonic characters and I won't see the styles, it's fine. It really doesn't matter. Well, speaking of the thicker legs, I was making that in comparison to Jazwares. Speaking of that, just real quick, let me go grab my main Jazwares figure. Okay, so I'm holding the camera here for a moment just for this comparison, and, well, just for the shot, I guess. But yeah, here's a little bit of force perspective if they were around the same height and size, that's how the proportions would match. I do think the Jakks Pacific figure has a more accurate, does have more accurate proportions, because I don't remember Sonic's stomach being that damn small, like almost less than almost less than his bicep. Like, that just looks a bit off to me, but it's what it is. Okay, So obviously, this Sonic is a hell of a lot taller than the Jazwares Sonic, but sculpture-wise, well, as far as their sculpts go, like, this is what I was talking about. Like, this Jazwares Sonic and each Jazwares Sonic, they're both, like, they both have really good sculpts, but I think I kind of prefer, at least definitely the colors on the Jazwares Sonic. This blue on Sonic, it looks like, I think the Jazwares Sonic looks more blue, like the fur looks more blue than Jazwares Sonic, and it's odd, but they have pretty comparable articulation besides the whole arm thing with Jazwares Sonic. Other than that, they have pretty comparable articulation, but there's a lot more swivels in the Jazwares one than there are in the Jazwares. Let me get this guy out the way. So, about this guy's paint job. Well, it's generally really good, although there are a couple of paint flubs on my figure in particular. Here's one of the paint flubs, I don't know if you can see that, but on his cheek, there's some discoloration. Like, I'm thinking it's maybe from the eyes, they just kind of messed it up. And here is another one. Like, this isn't like something like the eye did, this came out of the box like this. There's some inaccurate paint on his shoe, although it does kind of make it like look slightly dirty and more realistic. So I think I slightly like it, but eh. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on to Sonic's buddy Tails. Okay, and here we have Miles Tails Prower. First things first, he has the same amount of articulation that the other guys have, besides his tails, which do rotate. And the joint on the rotating tails is actually pretty good. Like, it's much better than rotating tails of Jazwares figures, which were very, very floppy. But that one is actually fairly strong, it can maintain a pose. So what's there to really say? Well, sculpt-wise, this guy's really good. Like, if I go ahead and compare him to another Jazwares figure real quick, well, actually, these guys are a lot more comparable in scale, since, you know, Jakks actually did a pretty good job with scaling. But, anyway, you'll notice with this entire set, they're more vibrant than the Jazwares figures. And I think that's a really good thing, although one thing I did wish I did with Tails, well, with Jazwares, which they did do on Jazwares, is the hands. Okay, look at this. Like, Sonic and Tails basically have the same hands, just swapped. Really. Well, of course, they added in a little detail for the little ring, but I don't know, like, one of the things that I really liked about Jazwares was that, like, especially for customization, different characters had different posed hands. And, like, don't get me wrong, the Jazwares figures also do, but they're not as prominent. But anyway, like Sonic, this guy can hold a pose pretty well. You know, especially if he has his tails to balance him. As far as the paint job goes, Tails is overall pretty good, although like Sonic, there was a little paint flub on his shoe, though it's not really an issue. It's like, it's not that noticeable. And another thing, that is a little bit more of an issue, but if you push it, well, but you can push it in a bit to make it look better. But that's another little issue I have. But other than that, they're pretty good. Like, Tails is damn fine. His sculpt is really good. His face sculpt probably isn't as good as Tommy's. It's still pretty dang good. Let's talk about this invincibility box real quick. There isn't really too much to say about it. It's just really solid. It's built well. But when you shake it, you can kind of feel it rattling inside just a little bit, but it's not that much of an issue. Again, like with the others, this has like the slot for a peg, and I'm not really sure why, especially since this is supposed to stay on the ground. But it is what it is. It still looks really good, and that's really all you can hope for, just for it to look good. Okay, and last but not least, here is Shadow the Hedgehog. One thing I just want to get out the way real quick, this is the guy I had the most issues as far as like flubs go. because like on his cheek, just put it in the focus real quick. On his cheek, there's like a little bit of like, it's almost like hot glue or something on it. Yeah, there you go. You can like really see it there, like it protruding. That's not something I did. That is something that it just came out the box with. But oddly, the white on his shoes is fine. like the other guys had issues with those. This guy's issue is just on his face. So I'm gonna see if I can scrape it off with a razor. Maybe I'll have to repaint it, but that won't be too much of an issue. But anyway, as far as this guy's articulation goes, he has more or less the same articulation as Sonic and Tails, minus obviously the rotating tails. But I gotta say, I really like the way the shadow looks. One more comparison to Jazwares here. I probably should have did with Eggman too, but as far as the sculpt goes, I much prefer the Jazz-specific Shadow's face to Jazwares Shadow's face. Don't know what it is about his face, but this guy just looks way more accurate. Especially if you look at like Sonic Forces, his sculpt is definitely better there. His paint job is perfect. I couldn't find any issues with that. So now we have Shadow largely out the way. Let's talk about this tin ring. There really isn't much to say about it. It's just pretty solid looking. It has this like sparkle to it. Yeah, like I don't know how well you can see, but it's like it has a slight little sparkle to it, which gives it a pretty good metallic sheen. There we go. Freaking cars again, Jesus. Like it's not as good looking as the rings that came with the Jazwares Sonic, but it still looks pretty good. This will still be something really cool to use in like a stop motion or anything if you want. But another thing, yeah, that's back, and it still makes no sense. Because especially since this one is floating, Shadow doesn't come with a stand for it, and which that doesn't really make much sense, but okay. Okay, but before I get into this last part, the reason that Shadow's 10 ring isn't there is because it's holding up Tails.
Stupid.
Tails. You know, so I can have that cool pose. Anyway, final thoughts. What do I think about these guys? They're awesome. They are plain freaking awesome. You should definitely pick them up if given the chance. You can find them at Target or online. I found these guys online, and yeah, I kind of paid the price for finding them online, but it's okay. I could have definitely been scalped for more, but Target is probably the place you'll find these guys, especially when quarantine is over. It is July 29th at the time of recording. I think one of the main reasons you should pick these guys up is because of this guy. It's because of Mario. Because Sonic scales very well with Mario. Come on, Shadow. Come on, Shadow. Come on, Shadow. God damn it, Shadow. Okay, Shadow, it is what it is. But yes, Sonic scales with Mario perfectly. It's like it's so many people have been waiting for this for a very long time, just having a Sonic that scales properly with Mario. And to finally freaking have it. Damn it. For so many years, we've been wanting a Sonic that scales with the XTHHedgehog / World of Nintendo Mario, and it just feels great to finally be able to do that, and to finally be able to make a stop motion where they actually scale correctly. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna be using this Sonic whenever he's with Mario and in my stop motion now. That's for sure. But one thing I definitely want to have to look out for is is the paint flubs that I was talking about. I mean, they might just be on my figures, but you're definitely going to have to want to look out for those. Jakks is pretty good quality control, but you know, some stragglers still manage to pass through. But I think this is one of the main pros of these guys, just to be able to scale them with a Mario figure. You can make an excellent Smash Bros. Display with the other World of Nintendo figures and the Figmas and whatnot. But other than that, other than just this really cool sight of these two figures being able to stand together and actually scaling well, I'm gonna leave it there. This has been Sonic the Hedgehog, and I'll see you guys later.